Everyone, it's Barbara Hayward here from the Old Girl Spiritual Stuff YouTube channel and Facebook page and the Old Girl Spiritualstuff.com. Just too many words in all that. Thank you for joining us today. And as you know, I only interview the very best. And today is the very best. Gail Kraft is a lady that I met maybe 6 months ago, if that, maybe earlier this year. And I've been incredibly intrigued with not just her life, but her knowledge. Amazing spiritual knowledge has Gail, and we're going to be working and talking a lot about that. Gail comes from the USA, from New Hampshire, and at the moment she's at her son's place in Denver. I just love saying all these different places. I'm from Gisborne and I go to Gisborne, it's about as far as I go. So thank you for joining us in the audience today here. And before we start, don't forget to subscribe and please like and leave a comment. It's all to do with analytics, and let's get all this spiritual stuff out there, because by golly gosh, doesn't the world need it at the moment with all the chaos around. However, the chaos is not joining us today. Gail's joined us today, and
Well,
it will be, it could be chaotic, but it won't be chaos. So, Gail, welcome, and and thank you for coming. And we're just going to have a bit of a conversation today, and we're going to cover the area, which I think is really important, of not believing in our connection to the universe, the higher self, to the God source, whatever you want to call it. But before I go to you, I will say these are not spaceships. Okay. And in a minute, we're going to have rays over me. I'm sorry about that. It's a particular time of day that the sun is coming through the trees. And these are lights from inside my house bus. I live in a house bus, as you know, and it's reflection. So I would love it to be spaceships, but I'm not that lucky at the moment. I just wanted to explain that. Gail, welcome, and thank you so, so, so very much for joining me today and sharing your immense knowledge with our incredible audience. Thank you.
Barb, thank you so much for graciously having me here. Um, I want to say that the knowledge is not mine. The knowledge comes through me. But there was a long time where I didn't understand or believe that. As a young 20s, 30s, I was very successful in business because I trusted my gut. I right, and that's I'm a street kid, a gang kid, and I thought it's from that experience that I trust my gut, right? Not realizing that it was my gut, but not really. Not really. It was amazing divine guidance. And there was a time where I literally felt like Midas. Everything I touched turned to gold. I could not fail, right? And where did this come from? No college degree, street kid, you know, trash mo, the whole 9 yards, right? It really was an amazing time for me. And then I was not happy, right? So I had all of the trappings. I would call it the Leave It to Beaver neighborhood, the
Yeah.
white picket fence, the woods in the back, dead end street, kids in good schools, and I would cry all the way home after work. I was so unhappy and I had no idea what was going on. And so I blew it apart. I blew it apart because it wasn't for me, and that began my journey of, well, who am I? What am I? What's going on? And I
So
will
what age would you be when the awarenesses started, when you started asking these particular type of questions?
48,
Right.
48. Yeah. And I actually went to see a psychiatrist because I thought it was nuts. Right.
Right.
And I was very specific on my research. I wanted a woman, specifically women's issues. And, I had a whole list of criteria. She was excellent. My first meeting, I'm like, I'm crying. I don't want to go home. I hate my life. And she said, well, honey, you're at a point in your life where you're looking back at what you've done and you're looking forward and saying, do I want to continue doing this? And your answer is no. It's that simple. And so there's a point in our lives when, and there's more than one point, by the way. I went through
Oh,
this many times, right? It wasn't, but that was the big one,
yeah.
right? That was when I blew my life apart. And I was so happy. I was so happy. I had no idea when I don't know where I'm going or what's going on, I am in heaven.
Wow.
Yeah, right. And now I didn't understand it then.
Yeah.
I understand it now, because I trust where the guidance is coming from. And then I just knew it felt right and whatever that meant. Now, I didn't understand, and I also didn't believe, right? The big thing happened. So I started, I would say, my spiritual journey 2008 when, the depression came. I was fired, and that's a whole beautiful story, beautiful thing that happened to me. And I decided at that point, again, I don't like that life. That life's not for me. I need to change. And I'm the cause. That's when I owned me being the cause
Right. And
of
that is
everything.
something that most people, I won't say very few, but most people don't understand that that's their personal responsibility. Because if you can't take responsibility on personal level, then you can't change. You haven't got the choice to change. Otherwise,
Right.
you're the victim, and you
Yes.
remain the victim.
And you're in a trap.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's everybody else's fault that you can't change. It's because I'm too old, I'm too fat, I'm too short, I'm too tall, I'm too this, I'm too that, and it's too late. But the moment you take personal responsibility, what I call ownership, you can change anything you like.
Right. And I think that's when the universe started saying, now you'll listen to me.
Yeah.
Right. And I would say, so I started as a business coach, and then I started life coaching. And that's when I was like, the universe started pulling me. I felt pulled. Like I have no choice here. I have no idea what's going on, but I have no choice. Right. It was that strong. And around 2012, I'm in San Diego with a bunch of women who are also coaches on the spiritual side. And we're having, I don't know, lunch or something. And I went, whoa, did you feel that? And they went, yes, the feminine power just dumped in the veil is thinning. It's starting here and it will take a while, but it's spreading. And I'm getting shivers remembering it because I'm like, it's about time. It's about time. And that is the first time that I really felt, not thinking it was my gut, that it was something else
Yeah.
that was coming, right? Like, well, that was interesting. But again, it was in and out. And the big thing that happened, I started working for motivational speakers, and I left San Diego, closed my business, and moved out of state to support a motivational speaker. And on the way, the universe is saying, turn around, don't go. You're putting her on a pedestal. You don't put anyone on a pedestal. And I'm like, oh, no, this will be fine. So I'm having this argument with the universe. My cat, who loves to travel, is in the back seat screaming like a banshee. It
Wow.
starts snowing. I barely got to her place. I fought every obstacle, spiritual, emotional, physical, because I made a commitment. So, first lesson, a commitment should be to myself first. And it would have been better if I had called and said, honey, I'm sorry, but I'm turning around. We'll talk later. But because I didn't, I lost everything, had a horrible experience, And I almost died because I thought I was having a heart attack because I had her on a pedestal. And she fell, and my heart was breaking. So I was laying on the couch thinking, well, I can either call 911 and they're going to do this heart stuff, and then I have this problem for the rest of my life. Or I can face the fact that I created this and what the hell's going on in my life. Universe, what's going on? What lesson am I not learning because I'm done? And all of my abandonment issues came up.
And we've all got them.
Oh man, do we ever,
We've all got them.
right? So one by one, one by one. And by the time I was done, I'm like, okay. So I had done a project for her and I hadn't gotten paid. So I called the accountant and I said, so let me explain a little bit about business to you. A project was asked for. The result is done. I get paid. That's kind of how it works.
Sort
You
of.
have the invoice, cut the check. She said, well, I was told not to. I said, I'm telling you, cut the check. Right? So she cut the check and I sent an email out and I said, love you. I don't work for free. I quit. I went home with no money, no business because I closed it, and in debt. And this woman zipping her face, the empowering process, 366 empowering questions, because that's what I started doing. Affirmations weren't working because I didn't believe it. Declarations weren't working because I didn't believe it. And I'm like, universe, universe, I know you're there. How do I speak to you? How do I speak to you? And empowering questions, if you want to get technical and physical, opens up your reticular activation system.
Good.
Right? Because it's structured in a way that, so a question would be, what more can I do? So your brain goes, what more? Okay, so what are you doing already? What more can I do to bring more wealth and abundance into my life right now so that I can experience whatever it is? So your brain goes, okay, so all right, so you're writing this book. Well, there's something, and you've got some contacts. Well, you know what? Why don't you call so and so? Barb, if you don't believe in the universe, let me tell you something. This was April, May. This is when I'm like, okay, okay. I started writing those questions and I had three goals. I want to be able to travel and see my children no matter what. I'm in California, one was in Washington, one was in New England. I want my bills paid off by the end of the year, and I want my business back up and running. By December, I was living in a luxury apartment, working remotely on a contract, and my business was back up and running. Right? Because I was using a language that my subconscious could believe in.
Yes.
And I was able to see what I don't see typically,
Yeah.
the
With
opportunities. Go ahead.
with statements of intention or whatever you want to call them, they say it's better to have them out of sight instead of out of reach. Most of us make them out of reach. So our monkey mind then says, well, that's never going to happen. And
Right. I'm
so
going to be a
it
millionaire.
doesn't. But
Right.
if it's just out of reach until you learn how to do it better, and then you have the more confidence and the more know how and the more belief, and then you can make it further out. But that is the biggest issue is we're just going to ask for $1 million. Well, I've been living on $50 a week. No. And so our mind goes, really? You think so?
Yeah.
We're not
It's
going
not
to
going to
do that
happen,
for
babe.
you. Not in my world. So
Right.
yeah,
Right. And what I learned there is that I can't lie to myself
no,
because I know me better
no.
than anybody. Right. And so how do I communicate? And what I didn't realize is that I was also communicating the up. right?
Right.
And there was, uh, there were many miracles that have been happening in my life, especially lately.
Mm.
And there was a time, I would say it was right after COVID. It was right after COVID. And yes, I went on a psilocybin journey with a specific intention. Am I really talking to the universe?
Yeah.
You know, and so the universe answered me with a joke,
Yeah.
right? It was like, "Oh, really? You don't think you're talking to us? Well, what about this? And what about this? And what?" And I finally was like, "Okay, okay, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I am listening to you." Another time I was walking and I thought, "Is that you or is that me?" And the response was, "Does it really matter?"
I was just going to say that because if we're all one, if everything is just one, then we get so caught up in, oh, but it's me. But you are one.
Yes.
So does it matter?
No, it doesn't.
You know? And we do get caught up in the do you, when I first started this area 40 plus years ago, I had a friend who died in a very, very specific way, very specific. And I said to my people, I call them my people, I will fully believe in you if you can send me someone that can tell me how my friend died. Now, I will work for you, but I won't fully trust you. I won't fully believe. But until you show me that somebody who doesn't know anything about me can tell me how my friend died. Well, it took me 13 years for that person to come into my life. They were saying, well, look, you're going to work anyway. We're going to work together. Don't worry about it. And then at the right time, you'll get the knowledge you needed. And it was very, very specific. And I was working actually in Gisborne where I live 30 years ago. And yeah, about 30 years ago. And I'd done some work and I come out and there was this lady there, friend of a friend, and she goes, oh, I've got this lady and she's scratching her face. She says, I'm so hot, it's like I'm on fire. And I just burst out in tears because that's how she died. And she was on fire. And so sometimes our connection, we need a little bit, we sometimes need to have the faith without the proof, and then the
And
proof
there's
will
no
come.
timeline there either.
No, no,
When they
and the
say
proof will
soon, it
come.
could be 15 years.
I know. I mean, it's been 42 years of conscious living in this world. So yeah, goal setting is a wonderful thing. People like when I first started this, I really wanted it yesterday. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Well, the longest goal I've ever had to wait for after asking, trusting the universe, sort of, was 43 years. So if I had to wait 43 years, you can wait 2 years.
Right? Right, exactly.
Absolutely.
And I think that is um, also the fallacy of manifestation. So first
It
of
is.
all, guys, we manifest every second of the day.
Good,
We
bad, and
we are
the ugly.
manifestors. That's what we do. So say I don't know how to manifest. Yes, you do. You're here with me. You're manifesting this. We're co-creating right now. You and I are co-creating. We're manifesting, right?
Yeah.
Um,
And you went
there's
to the
some
letterbox. You went to the letterbox and got some bills. Well, you manifested that as well. I mean,
yes,
manifesting's not always about the good things. And when
it's
we can get it up,
everything.
it's everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And if we can take responsibility for that, we can change it so quickly.
Because we are the writers of our own story. That was in 2008, 2009, when I took responsibility. And the way that I did that, Barbara, I sued the company
Good.
and I became pretty nasty because suing a
Nice.
company is nasty business.
Yeah, it is.
And ugh, and I looked in the mirror one day and I said, I can't stand you. I am surprised you have any friends left. This has got to change. Yeah. And being someone who came from the gang, came from the streets, I have the ability to cut you down with my words and leave a bloody mess. That's who I was. And not even look back or care, right? If I wasn't that, I would not appreciate so much who I am now, right? I would not know all that I went through to get here. And when I have someone that I'm working with who is in that place, I understand it,
Yeah.
right? I don't work with anyone that I've not experienced. So, and I was telling someone today, as a matter of fact, if I have someone who comes to me for help and they're drug addicted, I have friends that's their specialty. Let me connect you with the right people.
Yeah.
Right? Because I've not been there.
Yeah. And
So I don't have the right to help you.
yeah. There
Right?
is a saying that you cannot understand the light unless you've lived in the dark.
Yeah.
And you cannot do that. People think, oh, I only want the light. But how do you know
You
what the
can't.
light is if you don't understand the dark?
They're the same thing.
They are
They're
just
the
a
same
different
thing.
focus.
Yes. It's the law of polarity.
Yeah.
And that's the universal unmutable law.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right? Right? I just finished up I work with people who are in the dark night. Most of them are people in this business,
Mm.
right? They're shamans, spiritual healers, whatever, and their tools ain't working, right? Because all of those lessons, guys, are bullshit.
Absolutely.
Right? Um, and so it's a lot of work and reframing. And this woman, this is when I knew this has nothing to do with me. This is you guiding me on her behalf. Thank you. She was not eating, not sleeping, losing her business, losing her relationship. She was skin and bones when we started. And she starts off with, "Oh, I do this all the time, all of my relationships because of whatever excuse." I said, "I don't give a shit about your past."
Yep.
What? I said, "Yeah, that's just another deflection. You're deflecting from the moment, so let's just not go there. I want you to feel how bad you feel right now." She's like, "What?" Feel it and love the fact that you feel this bad. She says, "Are you crazy?" I'm like, "No." No. And so it's living in the now without resistance. And that's the struggle. We want to resist. We want to get through it, get past it, heal it, right? Explain it, and all the other whatevers. I call it coachable, right? And you're just putting a band-aid on, right? We're here to experience, but
That's
not to become the experience or own the experience or identify with the experience. And so I work with people to help them experience, but not identify with it. And man,
right.
it goes really fast when you do that.
Yeah.
So here we are a few months later, Barb. Yes, her and her partner are separated as they should be. They got together for the very wrong reasons, but so it was a good thing. Her business is flourishing. She's creating a retreat site. She's sleeping. She's eating. She looks amazing,
Right.
right? Because she has the tools now. And
Yeah.
we talk every once in a while. She goes, every once in a while that shadow child of mine pops up. I said, yeah, but now you know what to do.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, right. Right. So, um, and I have no idea what I'm going to say. I've got one that I'm wrapping up with now. She said 2 weeks ago, I was a hard nut. I said, well, they all are. Right. But I don't know because I've learned to trust
Yeah.
that it's not me, and yet it is me.
Well, that's the thing. When I first started in this world, consciously. I had a teacher, and for I wasn't allowed to use a tarot pack or give a clairvoyant message or a healing until she told me I was able to. And that was part of the condition of her being my teacher. She was very strict, very, very, very strict, beyond strict. And as it turned out, it was 5 years before I was allowed to do any of that because she said to me, I want you to get your relationship going with your God, your people in spirit, your guides, and I want you to talk to Mother Nature. I want you to ask the universe because she said, if you can formulate the question, I'll give you the answer. If you can't formulate the question, no amount of me telling you the answer, you're going to figure it out. I thought, well, I'm lazy. I'm an Aries and I'm an 8-day born. I'm an Australian woman. It's all going for me. So I asked her a question and I don't know what the question, and she said, great question. I like that question. Now I want you to go out to the universe, ask the universe the same question, hear what the universe, hear the wind, listen to the unseen and hear the unknown because the whole thing will teach you everything you need to know. Then when you've got it, come back and we'll talk. And that's how she taught me. And it's really about the connection with our people. I didn't know the work that was ahead for me over the next 35 and well, I haven't stopped, I've started again. A big time, 70, I wasn't expecting it. And so it's about that relationship. See, I say that without my people, I can't give you the messages. I can't give you the
Right.
wisdom. But without me, they can't get it through either. So that's the partnership. That's our relationship.
It's a communication,
Yeah.
right? So you know that maybe you don't know. I used to dance. I
Hmm.
started dancing at the age of 54, and I was competing at the US Open at the age of 60. You're never too
Wow.
old. You're
That's
never
it.
too old. Yep. So so I started dancing for whatever reason, and it was horrible. I mean, I followed patterns. I did not follow the leader. And one of the instructors, after about a year, asked me to compete. Oh, there's a competition in town this weekend. I'd like to see you compete. And I laughed at her. I said, I'm not following these boys. And in the competition, you have a number and the leader has a number and they match you up. I could be dancing with anyone in the world. So I need to follow,
Yeah.
right? So I promised her I would learn to follow. So I started taking private lessons. The poor teacher, the first one I had. About 6 months into it, I'm like, something's not clicking. I'm going to take Argentine tango lessons because the woman does nothing in tango except she has control of her ankle. And again, that poor teacher it took us a while for me to trust the
Yeah.
communication
Yeah.
and it's a feeling. And the first time I felt a barb, so we're leaning in Argentine tango, you're at an angle because he's
Right.
moving you. It's geometry, right? And I felt electricity go down my back and move my leg. And I went, holy shit, what was that? And he goes, now you got it. Now you got it. Right. And that's this communication. Holy shit, because I get tingles, my head starts to, I get shivers, right? Especially when it's profound. And I'm talking to them all the time,
Yeah.
right? When I was going through chemo, I actually invited them in. I
Right.
said, I don't want to turn to you when I need help. I don't want to say,
Yeah.
please help me through this. I want you here
Yeah.
to be part of my life.
Yeah.
And that invitation is what changed
Yeah.
my life.
And God says, why is it that you always ask me in at the last resort? Why am I always the last resort? Why can't you come to me in the beginning?
Or I have some ideas for you. You want to listen?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I usually go, you want me to what? I mean, I'll do it, but really?
Yeah.
Um, and in the book that I wrote about the cancer journey, long before I saw a doctor, I was told to buy the chemo hats. And so I'm out on Amazon buying those hats, yelling at the universe, "Are you fucking kidding me? I'm never going to wear these. I'll buy them because I do what you tell me to do, but they're going in a drawer.
Yep.
I have friends with an insult, right? But I'm good to tell me to do, right? So just like with a friend, right? You have the same conversation
Yep.
as you would with anyone, right? And I'm hearing, just do it, Gail. Just shut up and do it.
Yeah. So interesting. Now there is another aspect to your work that you didn't know that I was going to ask you about this. So no apologies. No apologies. Um, but before I go to there, which is really important, I just want to say to everybody out there, on my YouTube channel, I've got 8 videos on the 8 steps to manifesting deliberately. So if you want to know more, have a little look. They're 10 to 20 minutes long, but there is 8 steps to it. It's not just ask and receive and sit down and wait for it to come. You got to put a little bit of action and all sorts of other things in there. So go and have a look at those. And if you then want to do a workshop or something, let's sort of sort it out together. I think it's about time I went back to work, really. Now, there's another side to, and this comes from exactly where you've been talking, faith and trust in the universe. There is a saying, the time frame between the invisible and the visible is as long or as short as your faith and trust in the universe. I know it's a
Okay.
long one, but you can go and put it and replay that one. So out of all these journeys that you've done that have been incredible, and they say every step leads us to where we are. Emmylou Harris, decades ago, wrote a song which I think is even longer than the song itself, the title. Every road I've ever walked has led me one road closer to you. Everything we've ever done has led me one road closer to today.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just want to throw you in the deep end and tell me about your dragons.
Oh, sure.
Now, this is um, such a juxtaposition to everything else you've done. And then you've got the mythical dragons who aren't mythical.
No, they're real.
They're
Um,
real.
I'll go back to the beginning of
Please.
um, in 2014, the spring of 2014. I was at Joshua Tree, which is the desert in California. Lots of vortexes there. And it was the spring equinox. So the women I was with, we got up at the peak of the moon and we did a Wiccan welcome in north, south, east, and west, which is welcoming in the elementals.
Yes.
It,
Yes.
right? Earth, air, water, right? Wind,
Yep.
fire. Which I didn't realize I was invoking elementals. Dragons are elementals.
Yes, they are.
Yes. So still, kind of early. Let's go to sleep. We'll get up a little bit later and then go what to an event that we're here for. So I'm meditating. I'm in my happy place. And who comes up but this beautiful dragon? And we go flying around, right? Now I've always had a phoenix. Lots of women have
Yeah.
phoenixes, so I didn't think much of about the dragon other than, do the two of you get along? Yes, you do. Then why don't we just hang out together? And literally that weekend, we danced together. Like I had one on one arm, one in the other, and we just had a ball. But then I didn't think much more of the dragon other than he's here with me always. So a few months ago, March to be exact, March 1st, I started running these weekly programs. And I'm watching everyone else run theirs, and they've got, some are pulling cards, some are doing angel numbers, some are just conversations. I'm like, well, what am I going to do? I know I have dragon cards, which by the way, I've done nothing with,
Right.
right? So I've got a dragon I've ignored for 11 years, and I've got cards I've done nothing with.
Right.
Right. So I open up the cards, wake them up. Let's pull a card for the group. Okay, well, this is interesting. So let's talk about the dragon. And then I did a meditation on the energy of that dragon.
Wow.
Blew everyone away. And my dragon woke up and literally said, "It's about time."
There's probably some other word he put in there,
I know. It's
but
about fucking time.
yeah, that's the word.
Right? Right?
Very Aussie.
So So I'm like, well, this is also very interesting. I want to know more. So literally, I've started researching dragons. I've listened to dragon light language, and there's a particular video out there which he sounds just like what I hear with my dragon, the same tone, the same vibration, if you will, right? Because we are just interpreting the vibrations.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
not talking to us. They're not talking English to us,
Really?
right? No, not really. Not really. And so sometimes, like right now, the dragon is wrapped around me and his head is like watching
Yeah.
and enjoying the conversation,
Good.
right? Um, so lo and behold, I listen to the universe and I do what it tells me to do. The universe says, "Oh, you're going to write a book about dragons." I'm like, "Really?
Yeah.
What's that going to look like?" Right? If you want me to do this, then you tell me what it looks
Yeah.
like. And I literally got the whole outline. And
Wow.
Barb, it is amazing. And I'll tell you about one part of one chapter. Every
Sure.
chapter is about a dragon
Yeah.
and the main character's interaction. And it's all true stories about me and something I do that invokes a dragon, right? And then we
Wow.
have an experience. This particular experience, Barb, you're going to love it. And this is a true story. I went to church with my son. And on the stage is a horse in a corral.
Horse.
Of course, a cowboy comes out and I'm going to talk to you today about communication, trust, and love. This horse is 3 years old and no person has ever ridden the horse. This is the first time we've met, and I'm going to attempt to get in the corral and I will ride the horse by the end of my sermon. And so he went on about love and trusting God and so forth. And he is petting the horse. He's getting on the horse with his whole body and rubbing the horse with his legs and then getting off and communicating with this horse. At one point, the chorus is singing. He's on his knees looking at the horse, bawling his eyes out, and the horse is looking at him through the whole song, eye to eye. And he is communicating with this animal.
Wow.
And it's just amazing the love this man poured into that animal.
Wow.
And of course, by the end, he's riding the horse. And
Yeah.
the choir at the end sang. This man went to his knees again. The horse looked at him and turned around and looked at the choir through the whole song. That is in my
Wow.
chapter. Its experience is in my chapter. And I come out of the church in the chapter, and there's a dragon coming. And just like if this was really happening, I look around and I say, does anyone else see this dragon or is it just me?
Wow.
Yeah. Say hi to your hubby for me.
My husband has just
Well, I
come
can see
in.
him walking back.
I was going to say something. If you see somebody in the background, that was my husband. He's just got home from
Yeah.
work. And if you hear a little bit of noise in the background, that's my husband. He's just come in to drop a couple of things inside. We live in a house bus, so there's not a lot of room, and you can pretty much hear everything. So this is the authenticness of who both Gail and I are. It is what it is, and it
It is.
unfolds the way it unfolds. And it was interesting that it was about the dragons, because I'm sure he has a dragon. But I want to tell you a little story about Gail's dragons, if I may. Um, what Gail was loosely referring to is a group that we belong to. It's Mrs. Potts, and it's about a gathering of women, and there's 25 of those through this Facebook page we belong to, and Gail runs one, and I run one on a Friday. And they're all very, very different. And I went onto Gail's, and we were talking about the dragons, and I've never done this before, but I'm just going to move the computer because I want to show them something. And excuse the little bit of mess, because I wasn't expecting to do this. This is just so out of character, but I just want to show you what we were talking about. So this is the other side of I call it the valley. And I said to Gail, we were talking about dragons, she was talking, and I said, and this is the other side of the piece of land that we're on. I said, I live, and in front of me is this valley, and every day there's a hawk that flies down, does its business, and flies back, and then goes up to the sky every day. And then I said, oh my gosh, that's a great place for the baby dragons to come down and learn to fly, because
Yeah.
it's just such an open space, and there's only 3 people on this piece of property. It's 240 acres, and there's only three houses, well, 2 houses and a house bus. And it's the most perfect place for the baby dragons, because they've got to fly somewhere that's safe. And
Right.
I often sit here, and I often in my mind, I do see the dragons, the
Yeah.
baby dragons, and it's such a safe place for them, because the only other, we have a fantail, and we have a kingfisher occasionally of birds, and a mopoke at night, but through the day we only have the hawk. And it's like the hawk comes and cleanses everything for the, and you know what? This is not imagination. This is
This
real.
is,
This
well,
is as real as we make it.
the first chapter in the book that I wrote is where did all the magic go? And
Wow.
I explain from a scientific perspective that we only see
Yeah.
0.00035% of
What's
what
really
is
there?
there. That's it.
Yeah.
And we only hear, we don't hear anything. We pick up vibrations and only a certain small bandwidth, and our brain interprets that. So we are missing sounds that we don't even know about, and the reality that we don't even know about.
And that has to be true
That is
on
true.
a scientific level. Now, I don't know. I know the concept, what I'm going to tell you is true, but I don't know if the number is true. So bear with me. But isn't it true that every minute our brain takes in something like 1,200
I know the
sounds?
numbers.
Well, please.
I know that NLP master, I'm totally trained in that stuff.
Good.
There are 3 billion with a B bits of information around at any given moment.
Yeah.
Our brain takes in 750 bits. That's it.
750 bits a second.
Of Out of 3 billion.
A second.
Yes.
Wow. And so, if that's true, and it is, then I wonder how much of it is in the unseen.
Exactly.
Because one of my jobs that I'm able to do is, oh, please don't be offended. I've done this for 35 years. I've said this, but I talk to the dead people. That's part of what I do. And I can see the dead people. Now, I can actually, you know, sometimes when you're at home alone and nothing much is happening, just out the side of your eye, you see this white something, and you go to look at it,
Yes.
and you can't. It's
It's
gone.
like a frequency.
Yeah. Well, it's more. It's like smoke. It's like an image, if you like. Well, that's real because the eye has picked it up. And the moment that we look at it, turn around, what we've done is gone into our consciousness and into our logic, and it doesn't reside in logic. It resides in the unconscious.
Well,
Yet
we don't have a
that,
folder to put it in.
and yet we can see that. So that's part of this 3 billion bits of
Right.
information that's around us.
Right.
So who's to say that in between those, if I think the book is Richard Bach, he wrote, and it's called ONE, and he's talking about the fabric. And if you have a look, if you get a microscope and you put the fabric, it looks like a spider's web. It's much
Yeah.
tighter when we look at it. But if you have a look at time space is in the fabric, in between those holes. And that's in the quantum physics. Yet our brain
Right.
can still pick up the quantum physics, can still
Yes.
pick up that quantum
Our
area.
subconscious.
Yeah. I,
Yeah.
I mean, how fascinating. So
It's ridiculous.
who is to tell me that the dragons don't exist just because you can't see them?
Well, I end that chapter with dragons exist historically in every culture around the world.
Yeah.
Someone is seeing dragons.
Yeah.
So I ask you to open your mind in the book.
Yeah.
The second chapter, I explain what elementals are
Hmm.
and what the dimensions are from the fourth to the ninth, because the dragons come from those dimensions. And it's not a hierarchy, it's a frequency, guys, right? And then I can go into the story and I don't have to explain in the story. I can just talk about, well, this dragon is saying, we're talking about fifth dimensional dragons, we're talking about seventh dimensional dragons, right? And you can go back, so you can skip those 2 chapters if you want and just get right
Or
into the
not.
story. Yeah, or not. And each chapter can stand by itself,
Absolutely.
right? Because it's
Did,
about the dragon.
many many years ago, in my book, I've written a chapter on what I call for my eyes only. They are things that Spirit have given me within my journey, as a gift, but they're not a teaching tool or a morals or whatever. Now, one of them was I was very, very blessed as an Australian woman, not a Maori person, not a New Zealander, that I was able to see a taniwha. And most Pakihas would say tanifas don't exist. And they don't exist in this physical third dimensional world. However, the one I saw certainly existed in this world, and it saved my life at a river. And I wanted to go down. It was basking on this beautiful, massive, big rock, and I thought I want to get closer. So I went up, and I was starting to go down, and it just turned and it hissed at me. It was like a big iguana. It was just amazing, and I got such a fright, and I came back around, and I reckon because nobody knew I was there, and it was at a place that nobody went, I reckon I was going to fall and hurt myself very badly, and it saved my life. But tanifas don't exist in the third dimensional world. However, they do exist. You ask all Maori people, you ask them about tanifas, they will tell you that, and a tanifa is a water creature. And if you ask them, they will be most emphatic that they're absolutely real.
Right.
So
Right. It's just like I am about the dragons,
there is
right?
no difference
They're
between them.
right there. No, because angels are angels, fairies, witches, and here's the thing: elementals do not have free will.
No,
Angels don't have free will. You
they
have to
just
call them
don't.
in. Witches don't have free will. You have to call them in.
Mhm.
Dragons don't have free will. You have to call them in.
Mm.
So there's nothing to be afraid of.
Oh,
If you have witches bothering you, then why are you calling them in?
Yeah.
What are you doing that is calling them in?
Yeah.
Right? It's like I say, it's like Dracula can't come in your house unless you say, "Come on in and suck the blood out of me," right?
When is your book expected to be finished? May I ask?
I'm feeling September, October,
Mm,
right? I'm already on chapter 11.
right.
But when I'm done with the chapters, I have to write the meditation. So there will be a written meditation, there will be a YouTube meditation.
And
There's just
there'll be a CD disc meditation as well.
maybe
No, no,
it's a
I've just told
possibility.
you.
Yeah, okay. So all of the meditations will be available,
Yeah,
right, for sale. But all of this, some of this came from Nina. Nina is the one who suggested that I do the meditations because she loves the meditations. She's Gail, they're so powerful. You need to share those. I'm like, oh, all right, I'll add that because I kind of have fun with them,
yeah, yeah,
because we go on a journey
yeah,
sometimes, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, early next year, you're coming back to visit us.
Well, I probably will. So here's the thing. I have no plans. I don't know what will happen, but I'm open to everything. When I go back to New Hampshire, I will renew my passport because I've let it lapse and it's time so I'll renew that, um, and sell the house and I will live nomadically. And where that goes, I'm going to join house sitters and go online and say, let's try over here. Let's try over there. Let's try over there.
We live in a world now where we're able to do that. I was talking to some people, I can't remember where, but if we looked at 30 years ago, you would never see women doing this. It was very structured. And now we've got the freedom of the ages.
Hmm.
Gail,
Yeah.
thank you so much. And I needed you to talk about the dragons because um I was more a unicorn girl until I
An
saw
elemental.
Avatar. And once
Oh,
I watched Avatar for the 20th time, I just went for the dragons and
oh
for
my God. Yes.
the flying and the trees and stuff.
When he first takes that dive on his
Mhm.
dragon, I'm like, yes.
That was
Yeah.
me in another time.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Gail. I absolutely appreciate it. Now, didn't I tell you, everyone out there, I only ever interview the very best. And today was absolutely no exception. Gail, thank you. And next year, we'll be showing your book. We'll be talking about your book, and we'll definitely be getting more into the meditations within your book. So, thank you so much for sharing so much in such a short time that we've been together today. Thank
I
you.
just adore you. Thank you so very, very much. And guys, thank you for spending the time with us and going
Yeah.
through this experience. It was beautiful.
Until
Beautiful.
next time.
Bye-bye.
And there will be a next time.